Um, all things that I would like to see. I think one of my challenges here is I, I'm deeply empathic, and I take on a lot of what others are feeling and struggling with. I have a lot of flexibility in my life to be able to schedule things and to go outside during the weekday and go for a hike if I want to. Everyone I work with is in corporate, and I know they're in places where there's no line between life and work anymore. And getting on Zoom and meetings and like everything just blurs together. And I hear this constantly, and I feel it. And so I know that a lot of my clients are not in places where they're able to make that separation as well as I can, and to be able to schedule when they want to be on Zoom, and to be able to pick and choose like whether they attend the panel or not. And so I think a lot of that stress is sort of spilling over onto me sometimes. And when I run my sessions, how people show up is a reflection of that. And I deeply feel that and worry about it. And I know that it's been really difficult for someone to even like carve out the 5 minutes it would take to, put on a song and dance to it, because it's just like the emails keep coming. And I know that world really well. And I know how hard it is to put your phone down and to not to feel like you're not constantly on call. And when you're working from home, it's almost impossible at that point. And so, yeah, I think these are all great ideas. I just wonder, it's like, well, I can implement them, but is it even, I think a lot of possibilities and people's minds are limited right now. Like with, and even with children, you're trying to homeschool like right next to you. It's difficult to ask people to be like, please focus on this, even for 5 minutes. And if there's some amount of challenging you can do, and some amount of, you know, creating your own experience, but I just also want to be sympathetic to that inability to create that distance from your work or from your children that this whole COVID thing has us living with.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you there. Um, that's like a real reality for many people, and I really do. I call out your empathy there. Two things come to mind here, and then we're gonna go to Daniel afterwards. I'm gonna leave it a thing on this here. The first thing is that like, as much as you were talking about the Zoom fatigue, to me it just sounds like fatigue. Like it's like in all like it has the platform is not the issue. The other, like there's so many different things that are being called on people where it's one place or another, where I'm on my phone, I don't have the space for myself, so on and so forth. And you're feeling it through your clients and the people that you work with. But there seems to be something that's more core to the equation of like fatigue altogether. And it would be like what feels in this thing in this conversation is like the things that might energize your community, right? Maybe things that we need to like that need to come out of your own community for that. But there's an element here where it feels that I'm feeling the weight of fatigue in like how it shows up in all these different environments in their world, and how that's also like translating to you in various ways. I just want to call that out because that does feel different than like this one specific vehicle, this one specific online context. And then I get really curious around like, what would it look like for you to powerfully serve them in the space of fatigue? One of the things that like I love talking about intentionality versus default in my spaces here, like like I know that the outside world default is I don't have any time. And I intentionally try and create a space where it's like when we come here, like you're like it is energizing in itself, so on and so forth, right? But to almost be the antidote along that path for them, where it's where they aren't getting more of the same. But when they enter this space with me, it's something different. It's crafted in a different way. And so there's an element of me that just like wants to open that up, and like, it gets like really curious about it for you, where it's like in the empathy that you have, what if it would be even more powerful or more serving to them to act to not have to go down the path with them in that space, but use the gift that you have of being able to choose more of your time and use that flexibility to help them be able to craft out and create more from their perspective. And I think we like this is a longer conversation, but I like to offer that to start out with. And I say that because like usually I'll like I know you work with different executives and things like that. They're like, this is just how things are. And I'm like, no, that's how things were. And like we had COVID and the whole world went into this different like we had to figure out how we were navigating. And people were taking on they were choosing different ways of being. And I'm seeing how we're bringing back the way things were into how things are now, and it's really difficult because we don't have anywhere near the amount of variety and places to get energy back. And I get really curious about what it might be like if you were part of that solution of helping them create something different that wasn't the default of what most other spaces are asking for or calling from them.
We're just getting started. Click on the link below to watch the full conversation and go to niyamaashaun.com/tribe to get additional resources and exclusive invitation to tribe only events. Journey on.